Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. Today we're going to finally make those brownies. Now, this is a recipe from the 1950s, and I guess some of you ladies will remember in home ec making brownies. That was always a favorite thing to do in home ec because you knew how good they were going to be. So anyway, this is a recipe from the 1950s, and of course it's all from scratch, and it's very, very rich. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is melt a half cup of butter. I know this recipe is going to have a whole cup of butter before we're done. And this is a chocolate I use in mine. Now, in the past, the chocolate was in much bigger chunks, but basically you just need 4 ounces of either the dark chocolate or the semi-sweet. Now, I'm going to use the semi-sweet. So we've got the half cup of butter melted, and I've actually got it on medium-low heat. And we're going to put this whole bar in there. Again, it's 4 ounces of either the semi-sweet or the dark chocolate. And you have to be careful now with this because you don't want to burn it. So what you want to do is just have it on low heat. Go ahead and melt your butter first, and then put the chocolate into the hot butter, and it'll melt pretty quick. Now, you can do it in the microwave, but my experience with the microwave is sometimes it burns, and it really takes, I think, longer to do it that way. So we're just going to kind of roll this around in there and let it get good and melted. Now, after it melts, we're going to want to cool it back down to certainly no more than lukewarm. Let me come up closer so y'all can see. There we go. Yeah, this the request for the brownie recipe was made by Bryson. He's one of the subscribers, and I have been promising I would do the recipe, and then we got involved in so many other things. I didn't forget about it, but I just couldn't find the time. Now, I don't really eat that much chocolate because it kind of makes me hyper, but Mr. Bucky loves it. So what we're going to do is go ahead and make a big recipe of it, and then we'll freeze them so he can, go get a brownie whenever he wants. Alright, so now it's pretty well melted. There's still a couple of little chunks in there. So what I'm going to do is sit it down in a sink with some cool water to get it cooled down much quicker so we can go ahead with our recipe. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, while our chocolate and butter are cooling down to lukewarm, we're going to mix up the rest of the recipe. Now, you need another half cup of softened butter. Now, y'all, my butter is not softened, it's actually melted. I had to put it in the refrigerator a little while. I got this brilliant idea of putting it in the oven with just the light on and to soften it up, and that would have worked, except I had it in this stainless steel pan, so it actually just melted the whole thing. But that's okay, we can use it like that. Now to this, we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of sugar. Even that out. No, that's not going to work. So I'm going to actually use this scoop. Okay, so there's 1 cup. There's 2 cups. Now, the next thing we're going to add is going to be 3 eggs. Now, these are large eggs. I'm just going to dump them in. And I'm also going to go ahead and put in my vanilla. Now, in home ec, we weren't allowed to do it this way, y'all, but I just think it's easier. I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon. That's what the recipe calls for. And for me personally, and for Mr. Bucky, I'm putting in half a teaspoon. So that's 1½ teaspoons, but the recipe only calls for 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm going to also go ahead and put in ½ teaspoon of salt. And I will list this recipe down below. All right. Now I've got my paddle wheel on my KitchenAid, the one, let me show you. The one I ordered extra, it's got that little paddle that scrapes the side of the bowl, which I love. All right, so we're going to turn this on. And we're just going to mix that until it's light and fluffy, and we'll be back. Maybe our chocolate and butter will be cooled by then. All right, our chocolate has cooled down to just barely warm, just sort of lukewarm. And I did that by putting it down in a sink with some cold water to hurry that along. And we have beat our eggs and butter and sugar and vanilla and salt until they're light and fluffy. So we'll just turn that on again. All right, now I'm going to add my chocolate and butter mixture all at one time. I hope y'all will try this recipe. It is really good. Now it makes chewy brownies. If you want to make more cake-like brownies, it's a little bit different recipe. Let's make sure I get all that chocolate out of it. Every last bit of it. Okay, now let's just mix this up again. So the two, both the chocolate and butter and the rest of the ingredients are thoroughly mixed. All right, that's all we need on the mixer now. We're not going to use this anymore because we don't want to over mix the brownies once we've got the flour that we're adding there. Get my little scraper cleaned off. And by the way, I just love this little paddle that scrapes the side. You don't have to scrape anything down then. And that was one of the subscribers that told me about that. So y'all are really helpful. Alright, so I always have trouble getting my bowl off, but this time it came off real easy. Alright, so now what we're going to do is mix that flour in. So let me pull my shirt sleeves up a little bit. Scrape that bowl down, get every last speck of that chocolate in there. Alright, so we're going to add the flour. Now, it's very important with the flour that you only mix it a little bit once you've added the flour in. And this is going to be 1 1/4 cups of just all-purpose flour, and you want to sift it first and then measure it, because if you don't, it'll make the recipe dry. The recipes from the 50s always call for sifted flour. They don't so much anymore, but back then they did. So we're going to put about half that in and just use your spatula and stir it in. Now you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Make sure you preheat it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add more in. Stir it just a little bit. Now there's no leavening in this because the eggs actually become the leavening. They're going to expand when you cook this. All right, now I'm going to add the other 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And just be sure you sift it. Well, what I do is sift it onto a piece of wax paper and then put it into the measuring cup. Now, if all the flour, if you still see flour, that's okay. It's not going to make a bit of difference. And to me, this is a lot better than the brownie mixes you get, you know, in the store. Even though those are good too, because this has got real butter, a whole cup in there. Now, the pan that you're going to use, a 9 by 13, and what you want to do is grease it with some Crisco first. Don't use butter because that'll kind of burn. So grease it with some Crisco or shortening first, and then sprinkle it with flour. Now, some of you ladies will remember being in home ec, what we did was we used cocoa to coat the Crisco that was in the pan rather than flour, because the flour would make a little lighter area on the outside of the brownie. Alright, now we're going to just jump it in. You see any flour in there, just stir it around a little bit. Don't worry about getting it totally mixed in. And you really want to make sure you do not use the beaters or the mixer after you add the flour, because you want to stir it very little at that point. And if you want to put nuts in, you'd want like 1 cup of like walnuts, or you could use pecans. But I'm making this more for Mr. Bucky, certainly, and not for me. And he doesn't want the nuts in it, so we're making it plain. Now, he doesn't like nuts as much as I do. I love pecans or any kind of nut. Okay, so now we're just going to spread that out. And again, if you see some little specks of flour, don't worry about it, because there's enough butter in here that it will take care of it. Yeah, you don't want to overmix it at all. Okay, so just spread it out evenly in the pan, as even as you can get it. And then we're ready to bake it. So again, we're going to bake it in a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted comes out clean. Now, this is going to be chewy brownies. I mean, that's what brownies are supposed to be, chewy, right? So, but your toothpick should come out clean. All right, when this gets done, we'll be back. All right, I just took the brownies out of the oven, and what you want to do is use a toothpick, just insert it in there, and make sure it comes out clean. So, in my oven, this cooked for 40 minutes, not 45, but 40, but you just want to check it, make sure that, you don't want to overcook them. All right, we're going to let these get cool, and when they do, we'll be back and cut these, and we'll let Mr. Bucky taste of them. All right, we'll be back. Okay, the brownies have cooled, and we cut Mr. Bucky a piece, and we're going to see what he thinks. All right. So there it is. Mm-hmm. Give your honest opinion now.
All right.
Well,
It's delicious.
all right, let me can you hold it up and let them see how? All right, let's see. Let me hold it.
All right.
Can you all see the texture of it? I don't know if that shows up very well or not. Anyway, they're chewy on the inside, and this is the semi-sweet chocolate that I use. So
It's not dry at all.
No.
I mean, mild, real moist.
yeah, made with all butter, all butter. Okay, all right. So we will see y'all
Super.
next time, and I hope you'll try this recipe. If you like them more, do you need something to drink with that? No? Doesn't need anything. So if you want to make them with the dark chocolate, just go ahead and use the dark chocolate. Mr. Bucky likes the semi-sweet chocolate, so that works out better. Also, if you want to put nuts in it, he doesn't like it with nuts either, so I didn't put any nuts in it. But it goes really well with walnuts and or pecans, just 1 cup. So I will list this recipe right down below. I'm not going to put the directions down. Y'all have to watch the video for that. But remember, you melt the butter, half of it, in a pot and melt the chocolate and then mix it that way. All right, so we will see y'all next time.